was just wondering, or rather, I like to start with a question. Is there anyone in here never felt overwhelmed by fear or never got afraid of anything in life? Everybody has some kind of fear, including me too. Fear is the factor that makes you go to work in the morning and locks the door at night. No wonder it is not easy to sleep some nights, and no wonder we are bombarded with symptoms of stress, all the way from headache to depression. We have fear of the unknown, fear of danger, fear of the past, fear of the future, fear of not having enough, and fear of not having the right partner to marry, fear of children's safety, fear of rejection, fear of authorities, fear of being alone, fear of failures, fear of loss of position, or fear of self-esteem, fear of others' criticisms, fear of losing beloved ones, and fear of death. The era of human history is the era of anxiety and fear. And the list goes on and on, never ending. Fear can be quoted or denoted as anxiety or worries by different people. And Teal Swan, he says, we do not fear the unknown. We fear what we think we know about the unknown. We fear what we think we know about the unknown. Fear is mentioned 600 times in the Bible. The word fear is mentioned 600 times in the Bible. And every Christianity, even the Christianity in the history, used this theory of fear for teaching people to fear God and His judgment and His justice, and to hold faithful in check. Fear is so powerful that almost all our human institutions use various forms of it to keep people under control by offering right choice of rewards and, you know the word, they offer right choice of reward and punishment. You're right, punishment. And easily exploit people's fear to make them do what they otherwise would choose not to do. We have to understand one thing, that fear is not from God, not at all. It is an enemy's favorite tool in the toolbox, which he uses to keep us away from God. And if we believe that our God does not give a spirit of fear, but the spirit of courage, compassion, and trust, then we have no reason to be afraid. Fear not, for I am with you. That is the only answer he gives. Therefore, do not look around you in terror or in dismay. You know, that is one of the problems we have. We always look around. When we have fear, we always look around. But God says, look up. Look up to the cross. That is why it becomes very critical to understand Jesus' death on the cross. That is an act of love and trust in God the Father. And if we see this act as God satisfying or justifying His justice, then we are unwittingly emptying the cross of its power. What Father and Son accomplished together in that climatic situation, on that moment on the Mount Calvary, defines mutual love and trust. This is the faith and trust that allows us to feel perfectly safe in the presence of the Father, as the child feels safe in the presence of their mom and dad. And this we see every weekend. Children just run about in the church because they are very much confident by the presence that someone is there. Their parents are there. If something happens, they are going to run and pick them up. That's the confidence. That's the presence of mind, that there is a presence which is always looking at me. If I fall, there is someone. Jesus also knew exactly the same. And he wanted to break the bondage of fear. That is why he affirms, "Do not be afraid, little flock, because I have overcome the world. I have defeated the fear of death and the devil of darkness." That is the perfect love, and there is no fear. Because fear has to do with punishment, and love or trust has to do with gratefulness. And Jesus needs no longer our fear. He doesn't want that we be afraid of him. And he knows very well, and knowing well, that we will never trust that which we fear. We never trust that which we fear. So when fear knocks at your door, send faith and trust to answer. And nothing will stand before it, because he exclaims, "Do not be afraid, be strong, and be courageous." Honestly speaking, how many of you like to have on your highway petrol police or traffic police behind your car? No, nobody likes to have. But I like to have. I'm a new driver, not for my safety, for the safety of others who are driving. I'm just kidding, nobody likes. Even I also don't like that somebody, police especially, they are pulling their car behind my car. But one thing is sure, even if the policeman is behind my car or behind your car, that never endears you to him. You don't become dear to him, or we don't like to be dear to him. But in fact, the fear of getting ticket, right? Fear of getting ticket. What we do, we drive safely, right? We drive very safely. Every move, every turn we take, we look around not once, 2 times, whether he is behind. Then we take the turn, whichever turn we like. It makes us more safe to drive safely, and it makes the other drivers also to drive safely, so that nobody is being hurt. It's only because the presence of the police behind my car. And that is the lesson Jesus wanted to teach Peter at the shore of Sea of Galilee. The importance of presence of Christ or presence of God in our life. Peter could not answer Jesus that he loves him and trusts him to the deepest. Even Jesus knew that Peter has to learn more about the power of victorious cross. And this was then the transforming moment for Peter. He could not give the right answer, though, that time, but he eventually did it. He finally tapped into that love that led him to trust him so deeply that he never needed fear in his life again. So, let's look at the Mount Calvary and watch the most beautiful and incredible plan ever disclosed in the human history. Ever disclosed in the human history, that Jesus has won the victory at the cross. And now we have nothing to fear. So do not be afraid. You are worth much more than many sparrows. In other words, the perfect antidote for fear is trust in God. Let us build that trust in our relationship with God and with our neighbors or whomever we meet. So what is trust? Trust means a commitment. And trust means T stands for truthfulness in words and action. R stands for respect to life. U stands for understanding in relationship. S stands for sincerity of heart. And T stands for transparency in dealings. And my question is, if you are able to choose one of those virtues out of trust, and believe me, if you personalized those virtues in your life, one day you will feel the freedom from fear. And you will realize that greatest truth in life, that Jesus defeated the greatest fear on earth, that is death, and overcame the world as victorious, never to taste death again. So, do not fear, be strong, and be courageous. Amen.